Well, thank you, Minesh. I do want to say, Minesh, I've hired Minesh as a business coach, so I find it a great value and something you should consider. I'm a little nervous at talking in front of a mic. I've never held a mic before. I don't know about you. But there were two things that I wanted to talk about when I came here this morning. Those things were protection and value. What else would you want from an insurance company? There's a third thing that I thought about, though, as I was sitting and listening to some of the speakers here. And I think it's something that would be very important for all of you as business owners, just to never lose sight of. And that is, get to know your client. And I'll tell a story about that in just a moment. Actually, I'll tell a story about that right now. I have a friend I've known for over 25 years. And I was down at the Autorama recently here, this past weekend. Anyone go down to the Autorama? A couple of you? I know if I talk Autorama or cars, my 17-year-old daughter, she just rolls her eyes and turns her head. But I happen to be a car guy. And while I was there, I happened to run into a friend of 25 years who also is a car guy. And while we were there, he asked me a little bit of some questions about health insurance, because he knew that I was in health insurance. And he had said that he just had gotten a new policy. I asked him, great. And I said, which company did you go with? And he told me the name of the company. My jaw dropped. And I asked him, who was the agent that put you with this plan? And he mentioned the name. And it happened to be somebody who advertises on the radio quite frequently. You probably have even heard his name. So I'm assuming it's not an inexperienced agent that he was dealing with. And so I asked my friend, did he ask about your lifestyle? I happen to know about my friend's lifestyle because my being a car person, him being a car person, 25 years ago when I first met him, it was because he was a car photographer. He does a lot of the advertising for the big three companies. From that, one of his hobbies is motorcycle racing. Years later, after he stopped motorcycle racing, he got into sports car racing. Well, I know him from Waterford Hills because I've also been involved at Waterford Hills Racetrack, and 2 years ago I watched him spin out in a very intense race, and he slid across the grass and flipped his car over the concrete barrier. He was okay, perfectly fine. But I asked him about his agent. Did this agent ask you anything about your lifestyle, anything about your activities? This agent, when he walked up to my friend's house, should have seen a race car trailer parked by the side of the garage. He should have seen the snowmobile trailer parked in front of it. He should have seen the racing trophies in the house. The reason I bring this up is that the company that he put him with, which is a very big company here in Michigan for health insurance, has an exclusion in their policy. It's kind of buried at the back of that policy. I believe it's number 36. And that says that we exclude for anything automotive related. Oh! Was he protected? Should that other agent have asked some of these questions about lifestyle? Can you see yourself in your business not properly servicing your client because you didn't find out about them? You didn't take the time to get to know them. You didn't see if the children are playing sports in high school. You didn't find out about their different activities that they're involved in. Do you think you could be a better provider of your services to them if you knew some of these things about them? Do you think the fact that that agent didn't ask this question, that agent is going to stay with that or that client is going to stay with that agent. So I want you all to think about that as you're offering your products and services. Make sure you get to know your client, get to know them well. So that leaves my two other topics, protection and value. And I see I've got 2 minutes to talk about it. My chapter in the 30-Day Business Makeover goes into a great deal about HSAs. And I just want to say very briefly, there's two basic types of insurance that we can work with for you with health insurance. And I also offer life and disability so that you know. But the health insurance, there's traditional types of plans with co-pays. There are HSAs. To make a long story short, HSAs offer tax advantages and they lower your premiums while still making sure that you have solid health insurance protection. So there's a lot of advantages. As a single person, you can get up to nearly $3,000 a year in pre-tax benefits. Nearly $6,000 a year in family benefits. And so I think your tax person, this is a timely time, will probably be interested in talking to you and letting you know if you want to ask them, would I benefit from a $6,000 deduction this year? Do you think that would be a good thing for you at this time of year? So it's something to consider. So protection, make sure that you're getting a plan that's right for you. Make sure that you understand it. Make sure that you're working with an agent who, first of all, has the right ethics in place, who doesn't just offer one or two plans. They carry all the top companies, that they have the experience to understand how those companies protect you, to make sure that you are getting the right type of program that's suited for your particular needs. And to make sure that you're getting the protection that you're not only asking for, or think you're asking for, but that really does cover you for the things that you didn't ask for, what you should have. So, my offer to you is, all of you probably, raise your hand if you have health insurance. How many of you pay for your own health insurance as opposed to have a group or an employer pay for it for you? A lot of you. How many of you actually read the 60-page document, policy that came with your health insurance plan? Not too many of you. I will do that for you. No obligation. If you've got a great plan, if it's a good protection plan, if it's solid value, you're getting a good price, I'm not going to waste your time. I'll spend 5 minutes with you, we'll have a cup of coffee, and I'll tell you to stay right where you're at. But if I see some of these things that are in there, such as an auto exclusion, would you want to know about that? Yeah. If there is something in your plan that says, oh, we'll cover chemotherapy coverage, but only up to $1,000 per day, would you want to know about that? Believe it or not, those two exclusions are from two of the biggest companies that operate here in Michigan. You may not realize what you have or what you don't have. So my offer is review your plan. If I can find out something better for you, I'll point out those obvious deficiencies. If you're okay with that, that's great. Stay right where you're at. But if I can find something that gives you better protection at a better value, most likely less than what you're paying right now, wouldn't that be something you'd want to find out about? Right. So, for the one person who said they didn't have the 90-day business, Steve, my offer is, when you meet with me, and anyone else that didn't raise their hand, the copy of the book, The 30-Day Business Makeover, you will receive a free copy of that as well.
Thank you, Keith. Great job.